Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Grace and on this channel I share sewing tutorials. In today's tutorial we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this bustier blouse with a stylish yoke. If this is something that interests you, make sure you watch this video to the end and don't also forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Now with no further ado, let's get into the video and start learning. These are the Ankara materials that I'm going to be using to make this blouse. So this red Ankara here is for the body of the blouse and the other one is for the yoke part. And I'm going to be drafting the pattern on a pattern paper first before transferring it to the fabric. So I have my pattern paper here and other stuffs to draft the pattern. So from the top of my pattern paper, I'm going to draw a straight line, and that line is going to start as my starting point and my shoulder line. Then from that shoulder line, I'm going to mark my chest line at 8 inches. To get your chest line, divide your bust circumference by 6 and add 2 inches to that. So the next line I'm going to be marking is my bust point line at 10 inches. And I'll draw a straight line across like that. Then from my shoulder line again, I'm going to mark my under bust line, which is at 13 inches. And I'll also draw a straight line across. Then also from the shoulder again, I'm going to mark my waistline, which is at 17 inches, and I'm going to also draw a straight line across. Then the last horizontal line I'm going to draw is the full length of this blouse, which mine is at 21 inches. So I drew a straight line across like that, and I'll label my lines. That's my shoulder line, this is my chest line, this is the bust point, this is the under bust, this is the waistline, and this is the top length. Now on my shoulder line, I'm going to divide my shoulder measurement by 2. Mine is 8 inches, and I'll place that on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect those 2 points together like that. Then I'm going to be taking my neck depth. I'll be using 3 inches and also 3 inches for the width, so 3 by 3 neckline, and I'm going to connect it with a cuff. You can also use your free hand to do this. So from this line here, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant and connect to the neckline like that. Now the next thing that I'm going to be doing is that on the bust points, I'm going to be dividing my bust palm measurement by 2, which is my nipple to nipple, and I'll place it on the bust points, the under bust line, the waistline, and also the top line. So I have 4 points over there. I'm going to connect those 4 points together. So I'm using my pencil at this point. I hope you can see this. Now on this under bust line, I'm going to be taking my dart. So on the side that is going towards the middle, I took half an inch, and on this side coming to the side, I took 1.5 inch. I'll do the same thing on the waistline, half inch on one side and 1.5 inch on the other side, and I'll do the same thing on the top length also. Then I'll connect these 3 points together on both sides. So after getting the dart like this, I'm going to come down from the bust point on that straight line by half an inch, and I'll connect with a cuff to the under bust. So I'm connecting that point to the under bust on both sides. Now after doing this, I'll go to this shoulder area and I'll divide what I have in between my shoulder by 2. I'll mark that and I'll connect that with a slant to the bust point. So after that, it's time to determine where I want the down part of the blouse to stop before the yoke will start. So for me, I'll just be coming up from my chest line by 1 inch. You can also maintain the chest line for this if you don't mind your cleavages showing, but I'm just coming up by 1 inch to kind of prevent that. So I'm just drawing a straight line with my pencil. Then on this line, from the slant down to the chest line, I got my midpoint, then came in by half of an inch, and I'm going to be placing my round bust measurement divided by 4 on my chest line. That's my bust circumference divided by 4. Then I'm going to draw my armhole curve connecting those 3 points together. Now to get the dart on this upper part, which is also known as the over bust tightening, I'm going to be coming out by 0.75 inch on both sides of that slant line that slanted to the shoulder area, and I'm just going to be connecting it straight up to my bust point area. Now after that is done, I'm going to be connecting those lines to the shoulder in order to make sure that the yoke is also tightened. So just watch what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to be connecting from those points now slantly to the yoke area, to the shoulder area, in order to form a dart also. So I'm going to be cutting all these parts that I'm marking out now out. So on my waistline, I'm going to be placing my waist measurement divided by 4. Then whatever measurement I have in between this dart area, I'm going to replace it on the waistline. Also on this chest line, whatever measurement I have in between the dart over there, I'm going to replace it on the chest line here. Then on the top length, I'm going to be taking my hip measurement divided by 4. And I'll also add whatever I have in between the darts and replace it on the top length line. So I'm going to connect those points together now. Then I'm going to cut this out. So that side is my yoke area, though we're still going to work on the yoke, but I'm going to cut this out first. So watch me cut the dart area all the way to the top. And then after cutting it off all the way to the end like this, I'm going to cut out that part that I used my pencil to indicate earlier. So that upper part is my yoke, and since I have it separated like this, I'm going to be using my paper tape to join the pieces of the yoke together. So you can use a sellotape for this also. So I'll just go ahead and label my pattern. That's the center front, this is the side front, and this is the yoke. Now I'll go ahead and work on the back pattern. So I've already drafted out the basics, and I also added a zipper allowance of 1.5 inch to this. I'm going to label that the zipper allowance. So now I will just go ahead and label my other lines. That's my shoulder line, the chest line, the bust points, on the bust, the waistline, and the top length. So on the neck area, I used 1.5 inches by 3 inches. And I also slanted my shoulder. So on this chest line, I'll divide by bust circumference by 4, and I'll connect to the straight armhole line like that to form an armhole. Then on my chest line, my bust points, and the other lines, I'm going to place my bust palm measurement divided by 2, which is 4 inches. So I'll place it all the way on all the lines and connect my points together to get my dart. So from the chest line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch, and on the waistline, I'm going to be coming out by half an inch on both sides of the straight line, and I'll connect it to that chest line I came down by now. Then on the top length line, I'll come up by 1.5 inch, then I'll connect my dart like so to meet that point. So this is the dart area for the back. Now I'm just going to place my round measurements on this back pattern and cut it out. So on the waistline, I'm placing my waist measurement divided by 4. I'll place whatever I have in between the darts like that, and I'll also place my round hip measurement divided by 4 on the top length line, and I'll connect those points together like this. So I'll just go ahead and cut my pattern out. The yoke is going to be starting from the chest line for this back pattern. We are not going to be going up by 1 inch for the back. So I'm just going to slash through that chest line area like that and cut out the remaining part of the pattern. So at the end of the day, the zip is only going to be at the lower part of this back, while the upper part, which is the yoke, is going to have another design. So I'm going to work on this yoke now. So to work on this yoke, I'm going to be giving it a curved design at the back. Then from that line of the zip allowance, I'm going to come out by 4 inches and I'll mark that. And from the neckline, I'll come down by about 1.5 inch and I'll also mark that over there. Then I'll connect those 2 points together with a curve. So this is just to give it this back opening at the yoke area. So I'm going to trace this off and cut it out. So this is what the back is looking like now. So I'm just going to label that the yoke. Now it's time to cut the patterns out on the fabric. So the fabric is on fold and I placed my center front on it directly on the fold like that, and I'm going to pin it all the way, and I'm also going to pin down this side front. So on the sides, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch allowance all the way and also to the down part. Then on the side of this side front, I'm going to be adding 1.5 sewing allowance. Remember, we didn't add sewing allowance to the pattern, so I'm just adding it on the fabric now, and I'll also add 1/2 inch all the way around. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. So I added 1/2 inch to the top and to the sides and to the down parts, and I added 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. So remember that this is on fold and you are cutting out 2 pieces of this side front. Now I'm going to work on the back too, and then on the waistline of this back, I'm going to be doing something at the zipper allowance area. I'll come in by 1/2 inch on that point like this, then I'll connect it with a slant to the down and to the upper part. So this is just to make sure I eliminate zipper bulge, so that when I wear this blouse, the zip is not going to be bulging. So I'll just go ahead and pin my pattern down. Remember, this is also on fold and I'm going to be adding the necessary allowance. So I added 1/2 inch to the top and 1.5 inch to the side, just like we did for the front, and also 1/2 inch to the down part. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So I'm cutting that slant that I did at the zipper allowance area too, and I'll go ahead and notch where the zip allowance is starting and also where the dart area is. This is because by the time I take off this pattern paper, everything is going to be looking the same. Now for the front yoke, we are not yet done working on it, so I'm going to be placing the yoke on another pattern paper that is folded into 2 like this, so that when we cut it out, we are going to have a full yoke. So I'm just going to cut it directly on the pattern paper. I'm not going to add any allowances to it, so I'm just cutting it all the way directly. After I've done this, I'm going to take off the pins and I'm going to open up my yoke. So as you can see, this is the new yoke and we're going to work on it now. So from one side of the yoke, I'm going to measure in 2 inches, and I will now go up from that point by 4 inches. Then I'll connect those 2 points together like that. Then on the other side, I'll also come in by 2 inches. So this is optional. You can use more than 2 inches or less than. Then from that 4 inches I went up by, I'll connect with a curve to meet these other 2 inches. So I'll cut this out now, and this is going to give us that stylish design at the yoke area. Then I will just go ahead and cut it out on my fabric. So the fabric is not folded into 2 here because we have the yoke opened up. So I added 1/2 inch allowance to all the areas except for the armhole and the neck area. Then I'll go ahead and cut out my back yoke too. The fabric is folded into 2 before I place this pattern on it because we need it to be in 2 pieces. So I'm also adding 1/2 inch allowance all around except for the armhole area here and also the neck area. So this is basically all for the cutting of this blouse. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing the tutorial of how to join it together. So make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified when I drop the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Till I see you in my next one. Bye.